Alrighty, hello, people of the Gorners Crusade. We are going to be going over an example of how to play this week's mission. This week's mission is dun 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 dun. I've lost it. Oh, here we go. Fighting gravity. And I'll be going over how to actually get these things going. We're going to be going over what the hellscape is. Easy. I shouldn't do that. We're going to be going over what the hellscape is, what warp events are, and how to keep track of them. They're very easy. How to spawn unbound adversaries. And we're going to talk about what the hell gravitic displacement is. And also we're going to figure out how to do warp surge anomalies. It's going to be crazy. That's a sad face, but we're all actually happy. And then we're going to figure out how to keep score. It's going to be a great time. It's going to take like 5 minutes. And I'll cut a lot of this bullshit down, let's be real. Anyways, so welcome. This is going to be your first deployment. As you can see, this is the Dawn of War layout 5 style, okay? If you need to know how to do Dawn of War, all you have to do is go here and look at this. And you'll see here that the objectives, there are no home objectives. As you can see, all 5 of them are going to be in no man's land, along with some of the spawns. So, how do we fix this? Easy. This middle one is actually going to stay here. The only thing that we're going to do is toggle the lock on all of these. Ka-ching, ka-chinga. And yep. Oh, yeah, that's unlocked. And since there are no home objectives, we're going to move Ematech. We're going to click these and delete the home objectives. All you do is right-click them and then click the delete key on your keyboard. Super easy. Now, what do we do with this? This looks a little different from the mission. So, the way this is separated is these are actually not too bad. Okay? The only thing that's different is that these are going to be placed right on the edge, right on the cusp of this one right here. So, best way to do that is have a little marker. Oh, have a little marker right here, and that's where we're putting the center. Super easy, right? Boom. That's where one is going. This one is going to be moving right here. Super easy, right? This one's going to stay in the middle. The way we're going to clone these is going to be also very easy, right? These are only 8 inches apart, so all we have to do is measure. Boom, from the center, 8 inches, right about here. Right here is going to be totally fine. Get this, right click, and we are going to clone, right? And that didn't work, I guess. Oh, it did, huh? No, it didn't. Okay, excellent. So what we are actually going to do is we're going to right click and we're going to clone. There it is. There it is. Excellent. And you can see it kind of snaps and shot wherever the hell. You can drop 2 anywhere and then you can do your measurements right afterwards. Super easy. Boom. 8 inches is right about there. So that's where we're going to put the center of this objective. And boom. Super easy. Right? Not too bad. Yeah, it's a little hidden, but you'll be able to see it. Make do. And then here we're going to do 8 inches. And that's pretty damn close already. That's pretty damn close. Right there. Boom. And that's how we're doing it. Pretty simple. Right? We got to move those sectars out of the way, probably. It's probably what's going on. Yep, the sector. Thank you. Yeah, probably don't put your units down to deploy first. Just like the flayed ones. But that's not a huge deal. But that's pretty much how you're going to do it. Move this down a little bit. It should be fine. Like that. Right? Sectors are going back here for the sake of argument and for an example. So this is going to be something of a layout of what you're going to be doing, right? Super easy. Now, this is the no man's land, and this is where the majority of the game is going to be played, right? So let's check this out. Hellscape, gravitic nexus, and I'll be posting all these pictures in the same exact thing. Gravitic nexus. Let's go over it together before we do anything. Woo. Now we're going to go like this and like this. Gravitic nexus. Each objective marker within no man's land is a gravitic nexus. All of these. There are no home objectives. In addition to any other rules, each gravitic nexus begins the game in the enhanced state, but can change the state during battle, which is why we unlock these. We're going to be doing actions on them. Well, the gravitic nexus is in the enhanced state, which is by default normal. Each time a unit, excluding aircraft, which we're not going to have anyways, is selected to make a normal move, advance, or fall back move within 9 inches of this. So if you're making any movements within over here, and it's this huge radius. If you need help with radiuses, you can always be control, click, and use these little bubbles. Boom. And that's how you can keep track of it. And it'll show you the entire bubble, and you can do it on all of them. And we're going to turn that off. Okay, let's continue reading. Within 9 inches of the gravitic nexus, until the end of that move, subtract 2 from the move characteristic of each model in that unit. And that unit does not have the fly keyword, meaning it takes off the fly keyword of a unit that has fly. While a gravitic nexus in an inverted state, and the inverted state will be this action down here in which you will be doing to make it inverted, and I'll show you how to make it inverted. Each time a unit, excluding aircraft and vehicles other than walkers, is selected to make a normal move, advance, or fall back move within 9 inches, which is that same radius, until the end of that move, add 2 to the move characteristic of each model in that unit. Okay, so there's a benefit, right, to getting around the map faster. So, how do you invert them? At the beginning of your shooting phase, 1 unit from your Crusade army that is within range of a gravitic nexus, and that means within this circle. It doesn't mean within that 9 inches, it means on the objective, has to spend an action, right? So that means you're sacrificing shooting, advancing, charging. That's it. You move, you spend that action, you're done. Your guy stays there in order to get that. It completes at the end of your turn, and when you complete it, you give a warp counter. Change the state of the gravitic nexus. Well, I mean, the unit that was on here, you give a warp counter is what I mean. I misread it, obviously. I'm bad at reading. And then you're changing the state of this. Now, if you notice, when you right-click this and you click flip, it's the same fucking thing. So what I like to do is go over here, go to these legacy tokens. You're going to right-click, and you're going to search. And you can use whatever the fuck you want, right? You can use action completed or, I don't know, trees. But for the sake of making this simple, I'm going to use unstable position because it kind of rhymes with what we're doing, making it inverted, unstable, right? So let's say these flayed ones, right? Or let's lock this. And yeah, if you don't want to jack up any of your, if you don't want to like jack up any of these, so when you're moving models, just go ahead and relock them, okay? Very simple. Okay. Just go ahead and relock these. It'll make it 10 times easier to move models around. There, locked. So now you can't move them. Excellent. Now you can grab your guys and do whatever. So let's say these flayed ones were back here, and they move, making a normal move, and click action. Now they can't charge, they can't melee, they can't do whatever. What I would like to do is unstable position, pop it right on that objective so everybody knows that it's inverted. Easy. And that's how you keep track of whether or not they're inverted. Now, that is the basis of the actions in the gravitic nexus hellscape, which is pretty much the rule for what we're doing. For each unit within range of the gravitic nexus in an enhanced state, right? And enhance is the default state, so how it is by default normally without inverting it, inflict D3 mortal wounds on this unit. Until the next time anomalies will be generated, while the unit is within range of an inverted state, it cannot have the benefit of cover. So no matter what, let's say this Mutalith, or let's say this Infernal Master pops out, and he can't see the whole unit, it doesn't matter. They do not get the benefit of cover if this is inverted. You're taking full damage, right? Very easy. Very easy to kind of understand. But let's go over how this is going to work in full time, right? This flayed unit moves within range of it. It's done, okay? Now, the second you get on this objective, you roll a dice for D3. I take 1 mortal wound. These only have 1 wound, so one of them is dead. And then you'll be able to invert this. That's how that's working. Once it's inverted, you're not taking mortal wounds, you're just taking no benefit of cover. And that's the army rule for this. And then we'll go over how to keep score right now. Oh, also, planet-wide minor. Let's go over warp events next, because that's next on our list. Warp events are super easy, actually. Here are the warp events. Our warp events, you can ignore these and these. This is when you start warp events. At the start of your second and third battle rounds only. So first battle round and fourth and fifth, you're free to not even worry about warp events. So we'll go ahead and do that our second round, but you always have to keep track of them. This picture will also be posted because this is the one that I rolled for, and this is the one that we'll be doing. Okay, anomalies are super easy because this is the first battle round in this situation. We're not doing anything. Now, you gotta love it. Unbound adversaries. At the start of each battle round, meaning whoever goes first is rolling for these. The players roll 1d6. So, on a 5-up, set up one unbound adversary unit wholly within 6 inches of one randomly determined unbound adversary battle edge. Roll 1d3. The result is the power level. Now, because we're just starting, we are going to ignore the d3 portion. I already decided what portion we're going to be doing, and it's going to be just these power levels. We're starting with 750 points, so we're not starting with anything crazy. This is the one we're going to stick with. So, what you're going to do is you're going to roll these two only, right? So, 1, I'm going to have 1 through 3, and this is going to be 4 through 6 when rolling a die to check these off. So, let's go back here. Let's see what unbound adversaries we get. Okay. That didn't work because I didn't roll 5, but for the sake of argument, considering that the only way to get it is to roll a 5-up, right? But for the sake of argument, let's just say that we rolled a 5 in a situation where you would actually hit it, right? So, okay, great. Rolled a 5. Awesome. So, at the beginning of the round, here's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be rolling this. Okay. And we rolled a 4. So, what does that mean? 1 through 3, we don't do that, obviously. 4 through 6. Excellent. So now we're in this power level for our first roll. Now we're going to do d6 again, and we're going to figure out which we're going to be spawning. Another 4. Excellent. You gotta love it. Okay. 1 through 3, 4. So we will be spawning 3 demonic beasts. That's what we'll be doing today. Okay? And if you take a look, it's a little small, but you'll be able to see it. Unbound adversaries spawn in these areas down here. In these areas right here. Like all over the place. It can be no man's land. It can be in your deployment. It doesn't matter. Anywhere on this side of the board. Which means that they are anywhere on this side of the board and this side of the board. Okay? And you guys can randomly determine what you want. You can do a die roll, or you can rock, paper, scissors on wherever it spawns. Okay, I don't care. But because we rolled a 4, we are spawning... Oh, that's the wrong one. We are spawning 3 demonic beasts. What are demonic beasts? And I'm glad you asked. Demonic beasts are going to be blood crushers. Okay, and this is where you're going to find it in the rules that I sent up in the Crusade rules. But the good thing is that they're not that great. I already posted all this stuff, so you'll see that I went through and you'll realize that everything's pretty balanced. Demonic Beast is the worst thing you're going to fight. Toughness 6, which is legal. So we're going to be spawning 3 Demonic Beasts. Let's just say they spawn over here for sakes of arguments. I recommend that everyone goes into the Chaos Demons, into the World Eaters, and just makes a small demon folder and spawns 1, 1, 1, that's 2, whatever, and 3. This is going to be a blood crusher. This thing will be the equivalent of a blood crusher. It's going to be the equivalent to a demonic beast, which is down here. So you're spawning 3 of these. So what you're going to do is you're going to do these. Okay? So 1, 2, 3. All 3 of these dudes are spawning over here. Somewhere over here. Yeah, I gotta love it. So, that's what we're going to do. Let's just have them spawn right in the middle, just like this. They have to be in coherency. And the way that these work are you're measuring. Who is it closest to? Is it closer to this enemy? It is about 11 inches away from him. It is about 8 inches away from him. So no matter what, at the beginning of every round, these units go first, and they only attack the closest enemy. Period. So the way the turn goes, like let's say I go first, and let's say my opponent goes second. I go first, right? No, I actually don't. The unbound adversaries go first. And then they make their move to come attack me. They resolve their attacks, and I have to fight back next. Once this guy's turn is done, the unbound adversaries, then I actually go first, and then the opponent goes second. So that's how it's going to work. Okay? So be smart with your deployments with this, because you never know if these units can spawn. Alright? These are going to be lesser demons, these little bloodletters. There's most likely going to be 20 of them, so all these guys on the field, but they're super easy to kill, so don't worry about it. And then you have Chaos Spawn. That would be 1 Chaos Spawn, and this would be 2. And then this is the Bloodthirster, which we won't see for another phase or 2. These are a pain. Sometimes you could spawn 2 or 3 of them. But right now, it's going to be limited to these. And you do this at the start of every battle round, which means at the top of every round. So you have turn 1. Player goes first, rolls for the unbound adversaries, spawns them or doesn't, and then the next player goes, and then the first player initially goes for round 2, and then he does unbound adversaries again. Very easy. And that's pretty much it. Warp Surge anomalies are a little different. We'll go ahead and do those real quick. And yeah, if you guys want to figure out how to score, there are enhanced scoring in this area right here, and then the inverted scoring and how to, actually score the game and win. And then there's always a victor bonus. So whoever wins the battle gets these extra buffs in battle honors and whatever, what have you. Right? Super easy. Other than that, there's not too much to this. It's all pretty simple dimple. So we went over pretty much everything. We went over how to toggle these and to move these, which is nice. And we went over how to use actions and how you can't shoot afterwards, and how when you go up to these enhanced states, these guys would take mortal wounds, and how to invert them, how to do how to do these guys, the unbound adversaries, and how to spawn, and what deployment to use and what layout to use. This layout is layout number 5, and that is the only way you can play this map. Other than that, go ahead and have fun. Oh, wait a minute. Let's talk about actual anomalies, because we actually didn't go over that. Alright, I'll probably cut all this out. We'll see. Anomalies. Okay, warp events. This is the fun part. Okay, I posted all this stuff, so we're doing this middle one. So at the start of the second and third battle rounds only. Okay, so you're activating this pretty much 4 times. Each player does it. Player goes first, and the player goes second. Next battle round, which is, then first and second, and then you guys are done. Okay, so only the second and third battle rounds, and that's at the start of them before you guys do anything. Even before you do the unbound adversaries. What you're going to do is you're going to roll 3d6, right? Pretty easy. Let's go over how to do it real quick. You're going to roll 3d6. So I'm going to measure it here. We're going to do, did I say 3d6 or 2d6? Because I'm crazy. 3d6, awesome. So we'll do 2 and then a 1, and then we're going to roll them. Okay, so I got 2 6s and a 3, so that totals into 15. So we're going to go here, and 15, starting with the attacker, which is whoever goes second, or whatever. Each player selects 1 unit from their Crusade army that has 1 or more warp counters. Until the next time the anomalies will be generated, weapons equipped by models in those units have lethal hits. So now, to keep track, let's say, because these guys have a warp counter, because they already took one for being on this, like we went over, you can go in here, and I'm pretty sure there's lethal hits in here, no? No? Well, that's something you're going to have to keep track. Oh, there's lethal hits here, isn't there? I guess not. I guess I suck. But other than that, you can keep track of lethal hits. I'm sure there's ways that you can keep track of it. There's plenty of little baggies everywhere. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much how you do warp counters, and you do those at, like I said, at the start of the second, or the second and the Where is it? At the second and third battle rounds only. And that should be it. Other than that, you guys have fun and good luck. I hope everyone has a good time.